General thoughts on Minnesota?
A tough football team, much improved from where they were at this time last year, particularly on the defensive side of the football. They're not giving up a whole lot of points. They do very well in regard to points scored against. They have been through 3 quarterbacks already this season. They had Marquise Gray at quarterback, and he sustained an injury, and then they had Max Shortell as their quarterback, and they went with the Nelson kid, the freshman, last week. And all 3 quarterbacks are different in some ways, and they have employed 3 different styles of offense in some ways. So a lot for our defense to prepare against from a presentation standpoint. Some unknowns, about their offense, just based on having 3 quarterbacks already this season. And then again, defensively, they can bring a lot of pressure. They pressured us a lot last year. Very physical across the front. Good defensive ends, physical defensive ends. They have good quickness and good size, and a team that can really hit, and a team that has a lot of pride. So very impressed with their team and particularly with the improvements that they've made from a year ago.
You said before last week that you kind of were committed to giving Caleb a longer shot and, letting him really try to find a rhythm and things. And it seems like for the most part that strategy paid off and stuff. Is that kind of your plan against Minnesota? Is that unless there's just a reason to take him out, what poor performance or injury, you're just going to go with him?
Probably so. I think that we have struggled to have the continuity at the quarterback position early in the season, even though we had 2 senior quarterbacks coming back, 2 very good players, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted to have the opportunity to have both of those guys on the field. And then Caleb wasn't available for the first game, and then wasn't healthy to play his best in the third game, and then Robert tore his ACL out again in the second game. So that has changed some things. It made it tough for us to create some continuity at the quarterback position early in the season, and that was a position we felt like we had on our football team that we'd be way ahead at when the season started. So I think our commitment to leave Caleb in the game last weekend was a good decision. I think he played well. I think he's getting better, gaining some momentum, but it also has allowed us to create a little bit of continuity, which obviously we were behind at.
Is the inconsistency kind of maddening to you a little bit, especially with a veteran team?
Well, I think it's part of football, and you strive to be consistent, and that's why you practice, and we practice well. Sometimes it's a mystery to me why we don't execute some of the things in the games as well as we do in practice. And obviously the competition picks up when you go into the ball games. I recognize that, but we do very well in practice. And this football team practices as well as any that I've been around. In the games that we didn't play as well in, we were doing things in practice that may have been new or things that were designed to stop or to plays designed that we're going to call against our opponent. And some of those were some new things. And maybe the fact that you're trying some new things or for some things for the first time against top-of-the-line competition can negate your execution and your level of play. I think as the season progresses, I think we'll perform better than we did in our 2 lopsided losses and play on a more consistent basis just based on repetition. And then we had some guys banged up. We were healthier this past weekend than we have been the 2 weekends prior to that, and we started the season off relatively healthy, with the exception of maybe the quarterback spot and a few other situations. But we've been banged up some the last couple of weeks, and we were more healthy this past weekend, and obviously more ready to play. But again, it's a consistency issue. We have to be more consistent. There's no question about that, and I think every football team has to take that approach.